Oops.
All right, we are live.
Okay.
Got it. Let me see what's up. Hasn't popped up yet on my phone. Refresh it. There we go. All right, got that one up right there. That one up there. All right.
Ooh.
Like a lot of my random stuff is making sales right now, and I look at the keywords. I'm like, why the hell did I use that keyword for? Like, why?
Right. Well, I showed that shirt the other night. That was the first shirt that we ever sold on merch. Like, it's sold again this time of year.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the keywords, and I was like, dude, this is garbage. Like, how did this ever sell?
Yeah. Exactly. Like the keyword, I'm like, man. But you know what I mean? At that time, Amazon had everything all.
Yeah.
Ranking I had all the rankings and stuff, everything in online. Okay. So we look all confused.
So we are live here.
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, cool.
If you want, you can open up another window and pause it. I usually like to pause it on Matt's face. So
perfect. I'm stare at this beautiful, beautiful face all night long. You drinking water or you drinking vodka?
Nah, I'm just drinking water.
Vodka.
Yeah, right. That's one of my favorite cups, too. I've seen you drink it. Oh, man, I love those cups right there, man. Yeah, for reals. Perfect size and nice and cold. When they're
exactly, they stay cold.
Uh-huh. All right, everyone. Yeah, what's up, Eric? What's going on? Everybody, can you please give the video a thumbs up and share this? Let's get over 100 people or over 80 people watching. Let's start with that.
No, we're going over 100. Come on, we hit that mark once. We're not going back.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Besides the fact, I mean, what we're going to talk about tonight, I think is pretty exciting. So I think that people should tune in.
All right. Okay. So all right. So we're gonna do we'll do the last 7 days one more time. We did it earlier in the earlier show, but
oh yeah, I got a lot on real quick, but go ahead, you guys.
Okay. So last 7 days right here, I'm at 267 shirt sales and $844 in royalties.
Last 7 days, I'm at 193 with $579.80 in royalties.
Okay, I've got mine 1 second here. Sorry.
Are you okay?
I wasn't quite prepared. I emailed it to you today. Oh, okay, so I'm at 86 for the week and $800.07.
Nice. Also, too, Anna's backdrop is probably one of the best backdrops I've ever seen in my life on the show.
Yeah.
So give that to you. That's nice. It's pretty cool.
I'll show you, like, here. I'm going to turn around, too. Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you see, like, hold on. That's my backyard. Cool. I don't know if you could see it, like, because I can't see what I was showing you, but.
I don't think it flipped, but.
Working. I think I put my finger over it. Never mind. Sorry.
It's okay.
Not coordinated.
That's okay. So, all right. So, Anna, you want to go ahead and kind of get into it. So, what tier are you at? What was like what's your biggest goal that you're trying to accomplish with Merch by Amazon? Like with long-term goal and stuff like that. Kind of go into a little bit of a detail.
Sure. So right now I'm at tier 4,000. So, last year was really great. You know, it was really kind of up and coming. You're seeing that growth with merch, and then starting this year, it's just been a little bit tough, a lot tougher than before. So my goal this year is to really get going in the B2B, but instead of doing a traditional B2B, I'm trying to work with other artists to do licensing. So that's my goal, is just to really, get as many artists going as possible, and mostly quality ones. I don't want to just pick anyone, but someone who already has a established social media, audience built in.
Right.
That's pretty cool. So, is there with the established artist part, how are you? I'm not sure if you want to share that. I'm not sure how to ask this question. How are you going about doing all that? Like, do you have like a certain strategy that you're doing, or?
Yeah, I'll explain it. So, my initial plan with merch is I just started finding niches, and I usually do all my own art. So normally I kind of research ideas to create my own art. And during the research process, I'm seeing other artists who are creating things in my niche. I'm not talking about on merch shirts, but I'm talking about just finding people's art on Pinterest or Instagram or Facebook or, online. And so I'm noticing these people that they're great artists, per each niche. So I'm thinking at first my instinct was to try to do something in their style, not copy them, but just kind of imitate the feeling. But then I was thinking, hey, I'm kind of spinning my wheels here. I'm never going to be as good as these people. So why don't I just collaborate with them and split royalties? So that's how I've been finding people on Pinterest. But there's a few people that I've been following on social media for like a few years now. So one of them maybe even like 4 years or something. So that helped. That kind of had some people that I thought, oh, why don't I try them? So I have one that I'm working with right now that we're almost complete on setting up a agreement to do her shirts on merch. But it's just a way that, it's mutually beneficial that I can make money and they make money. Because normally as an artist, if you're doing everything by hand, like hand painting and things, you only have so much time in the day to really make that happen. So how are you ever going to grow your business if it's all by hand? You have to find a different way. So this is a way for them to be more hands-off. Because like I was speaking to one person, they said, well, right now I can't even work with you. I'd like to work with you in August. This is another artist. But she said, right now I've backed up with projects and I'm really sick right now. I'm having to just work while I'm sick. Well, that's the nice thing about merch. If you're sick, you could take time off and you still got those royalty checks coming in.
Right. Let's get into your background just a little bit, just because I think it's interesting, Anna. Like, how did you end up in merch?
Okay, well, let's see. Just to kind of backtrack a long time, I've been in the fashion industry since about 98 or so, and I went to school for fashion design. So I actually had that kind of art background. I didn't feel like I was a strong enough artist to make a living as, a fine artist. Mm-hmm. But I definitely had that vibe for fashion design. So I was actually designing swimwear for quite a few years. Up until about 9 years ago, I was doing swimwear. So we have a lot of manufacturers in LA. So I worked for a company called Apparel Ventures. We did OP, and that was before it went to Walmart. Because right now that brand is in Walmart, so it's not like.
Right, I remember back in the day, OP was actually pretty good.
Yeah, so like it was more like, I know in the 70s and 80s it was big, and then they kind of were staging a comeback when I was there in the 2000s, early 2000s or so. So, I also worked for another company that we had a line called Gossip, and then we did a lot of private labels. So that was like JCPenney, Sears, Kohl's, that kind of thing. So anyway, moving on, I got laid off from my job, and so I had already been doing eBay for a while, just kind of on the side. I had a business doing studio wardrobe from TV and movies. So I thought, well, why don't I just kind of keep going with this and see how it goes? If it doesn't work out, then I'll just get another job. So I just kept going, and it worked out. I didn't ever have to get another job. And then I was selling apparel online, doing eBay, and then I merged into Amazon, and then I was doing some wholesale type things, like selling to other eBay and Amazon sellers. And then, in 2016, my husband caught cancer, and I just didn't have time to manage all that because I was driving to LA, buying clothes, coming back, trying to process all this stuff. It's too labor intensive. I wasn't hardly even working that year. It's terrible. So I found merch. I think it was through Chris Green and Brianna Mala Green, and I was like, oh, this is cool. But I didn't really know how it's going to work out. So I didn't really go full throttle at first. I was just like, oh, let me try it. And I started seeing some traction, so I kept going, and finally now it's replaced my income. So I just do merch. I don't really do. I have a few things on Amazon right now, but hardly anything, meaning like merchant fulfilled. I never did FBA just because I didn't want to deal with some of the FBA issues. But so yeah, I'm 100% merch.
Right, and I think you have a unique take on merch in general, like in the way that you do things. It's very different than mine and RJ's take. So Anna, you may have seen her in the groups. If not, you'll find that she typically prices just about higher than about anybody else out there. So why exactly do you do that? Like, I understand why, but just to let everybody else know.
Sure. I mean, I guess what it is I don't want to, I mean, time is money for me. So, I could sell, shirts, like I would need to sell twice the amount of shirts if I priced at half of what I do. And right now, I'm topping out at about $26 and change for a shirt. So normally I start them at between $19.99 to $23 and change. And then once I get that first sale, usually I pop right up to like 26 and change. So, which is kind of my final price. And, so I think of it this way, I'd have to sell, if I price at half of that, I'd have to, sell double the amount. So it just kind of works out for me. And it works because I don't really do so much in crowded categories or crowded niches. Like if I do a holiday or like a major event, I try to niche it down somehow or make it so it stands alone, because otherwise you can't get that high price. Like if you're just going for, say, a holiday and you're competing about, with all these other Cinco de Mayo shirts, then sure, you kind of have to price low just to get seen. So if you're in a niche that you kind of own that niche, then the customer has no choice. If they want your thing, they're going to pay.
Right, exactly. There's not the competition.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of leads back into where we started, which, you were talking with this artist who does mostly like fine art stuff, right? When we talked about it originally. Yeah. And her fans are used to paying a higher price point for her apparel items and other things that she does. So that's kind of the beauty of what you're doing now with like a licensing deal with her, because how much was her stuff normally going for?
Like a hoodie will be like maybe $250 to $300.
Right.
And I bought a t-shirt from her and it was $80, but it was all hand done. Like basically it's like this process where she paints and then sticks in dye and then pulls it out, paint back in the dye. It's like with wax, and it's really complex. I mean, her hand done stuff is beautiful, but it's almost like, I explained it to her. It's like, you go to a museum and you see, the Mona Lisa. Of course, we can't own the Mona Lisa, but we can go buy a postcard or like a print of it. Or, so people know it's not the real deal, but it's like a way to make it accessible and to increase your business as an artist.
Right. And then like how big's her like social following?
So she had I think she had 60,000 on, I got to double check this. I thought she had 60,000 on Facebook, and then I got to, I need to check it, but her Instagram was not bad, but her strength is in Facebook, and she has YouTube too, but it's not as strong on YouTube. But just her overall business is enough that this is a full-time gig for her. And she owns a couple houses and she homeschools her kid. So she, money isn't seeming to be an issue for her, that she's herself well with this.
Yeah. And I think sometimes people they think about like a 60,000 person following and they wonder like how many shirts are they actually going to sell from that? I can't speak to her specifically, but I did notice that there's a new seller on merch that does they have a home repair blog, basically, like they're refinishing it. And their shirt was like a 5K BSR shirt. They had just listed it that week. There's small followings that are passionate, spend a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm actually, okay. Yeah, she had, 62,000. But I mean, what it is kind of like, if you're pricing your items high, then you don't, sorry, I was looking at this.
That's okay.
You don't really need that, a huge amount of followers if they're loyal and they're buying.
Right.
That's another thing too. I've been watching a few things and then studying a few things. The following too on Instagram, you have a lot of people that just follow, just like to click too as well. But if you have like a 20,000 following, whatever influence, whatever following, they're most likely to buy, because that following is actually like very passionate about what's buying. They haven't got that high yet on, like, say if I have a 80K following, it's like usually all over the place in a way. Or 100K following, it's usually a little bit all over the place because they see that other people are following them and they'll just follow them just to follow them.
Or they're fake.
Exactly. So there's ways you could test the market. I mean, you could test the following, see where it's coming from. Of course, you want it to be in the United States of America, but there's so many things that you can do with that. But starting when they first start, like you get them then. Like you want to get them when they first start to build up. Like if they're at 10K, you want to get them then. So that's just a little tip that I've been looking at. So something right there.
That's good. Yeah, because if they get to be like, I was actually looking into doing something like, I call them social media darlings. It's just, influencer, right? Could be on YouTube or Instagram or whatever. And, some of them are so big, they won't even respond to your messages or whatever. So, if they're just a little more up and coming, that's easier.
Right. So let's give the people some real value. Like, if you're somebody that's outside of the United States, obviously it's hard to do local merch. You can't actually go in and talk to the store owner. This is something I feel like with licensing that you can actually do and be very successful with. So how did you start the conversation? Like, how did you approach this with the artist?
Okay. So basically I had seen them online, and my first instinct, I sent them an email, but then I thought, and I kind of just detailed, the info on merch. And then I thought, you know what, I don't hardly check my email. Why don't I go into Facebook? Because I know she always comments on her, or she'll read the comments and then comment back. So I know she is doing something with some print-on-demand fabric. So I commented there and actually put a mock-up of her shirt that I had made for her to kind of grab her attention. And I said, hey, check this out. And then, that launched a conversation. And then we started talking. I said, give me a call. I actually put my phone number in that little Facebook comment, which I know people are like, don't do that, but I just did it anyway. And she called me right away, like within, maybe 5 minutes of our little back and forth on Facebook. So, that was like, worked out really well.
Now, had you been following her for a while? Was this somebody you had just discovered?
No, I think it's been maybe like 4 or 5 years that I've been following her. And
okay,
it's like a friend of a friend, like a friend of mine knows an artist, and then this artist was promoting her. So that's why I discovered her like quite a long time ago.
Right. Okay.
So. And that's pretty interesting. So basically what she did was kind of like got her attention by putting her design on a mock-up. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that's one of the best ways to do it, honestly, or is the best way to do it. To see what the person likes and see what they're trying to do. And basically what you did is kind of just like, he just threw it right in front of them and got their attention. So
yeah, I mean, that's the key. It's like you have to grab their attention somehow. And I feel like email is just tough. Usually people just kind of hit the delete, or they don't even open the thing. So it's like,
you got to do something different, right? Like you got to stand out. You have to do something that's going to make her notice you, or whoever notice you, right?
Yeah,
and that email's faceless. Whereas what you did right there, like you took something that was hers that she's going to recognize, and instantly she's going to see that and go,
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. And so it's like you can even, that way it wasn't a local, this person, she lives out of state. So, but, still doing that business. So that's where, it doesn't always have to be local merch.
Gotcha. So when you started the conversation with her, just back to the nuts and bolts, like back to the subject of pricing and everything else, how did you approach that? Did you explain to her how merch worked? Did you explain to her the royalty structure, all that stuff?
Yeah. So I was really brief on it. I didn't want to complicate things because I feel like, the less complicated you make it, the better. Because if you start getting too wordy, then you're gonna lose them, right? So I didn't say too much. I just said you'll get $5 and change for a premium and $6 and change for a standard. So that was pricing her shirts at $30 each, which I thought that would be reasonable for her audience. Mm-hmm. And so I just said you'll get this. I didn't say anything about the total royalties and it being a split. It is a total royalty and it is a split, but I wanted the focus to be on the customer, kind of what I'm doing for her, and take myself out, take the focus off me and put it on her of, hey, this is what you can get. And, just briefly explain, showed the color chart, showed the 2 styles of shirts, and kind of briefly explained, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to print. You don't have to ship. You don't have to deal with customer service. And the nice thing is the quality is really great, because normally screen printing, there's so many limitations on color and your quality. You can't get all the little fine details, but her things are really detailed. So I actually ordered a sample for her and it came out brilliant. It looked great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically you're what you're doing too with your pricing strategy is it's pretty good. I'm still like up in the air about was pricing my shirts too as well. I brought the pricing a little bit down. Of course, I'm making more sales. It's okay, but I'm not sure. I'm still not sure about it. But I like the way you're doing it. So.
Yeah, I think the key what she talked about, right, was like she's not pricing that like she's not sticking a unicorn shirt out there and going, hey, it's $30, buy it. Yeah. Like because there's so much competition, like they're going to look at that and go, nope, next. It's all about finding, areas where you can actually do that, finding small sub niches, doing stuff that's, going to be able to represent the niche, meet their needs, but also, not have a lot of competition in that space so you can charge more.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. Sorry, my son's saying something. I can't do it, okay, because we're in the middle of the live. Sorry about that. I guess I'm on his account somehow, but that's okay. He's like, get off my account. I can't. Sorry.
Yeah. With the pricing thing, like you said, you're like finding like low competition, and of course, you having like the best design and the low competition is really good too as well.
Sometimes it's almost like the only one, or at least sometimes I'm the first, because what I'm seeing is sometimes like there was one I was pretty much the first, and then I saw someone jumped in and kind of tried to flood it, but what they did was they just did this kind of text only stuff, and they did a really poor job of it. It's kind of like just there was no really beauty to the layout. It was just almost like someone just typed it in and threw it up. Like they're rushing to what I call, fill slots. Like they're just like, oh my goodness, I gotta, just take over this. And it's like, you'll do better if you put a little thought into it and tailor it a little to the niche. Like don't be so generic with your shirts in a rush to, take over a niche. It's not going to work like that. And most of those have not sold, those people who tried to jump in without putting effort or thought in.
Right.
Like you need to put some effort. Or the other thing I'm noticing is like some of the people, they have no clue about the trends, like the fashion trends in terms of what's trendy with the shirt design, because, you see all these people coming in with this, I call it that if Papa can't fix it shirt, just this, or people call it Teespring look, whatever you want to call it. And I feel like that's not really trendy. It's not what you're seeing in stores right now. At least, I mean, maybe you'll see it I'll see that kind of thing at the pharmacy I go to, but not like in a trendy store. So you'll be better if you're following the trends and looking more on trend with your designs.
Okay. Also too, with what you said right there, with the trends, like how do you find like a certain trend or something like that? Like how do you go about that? Like,
well, basically, I do a lot of shopping, so I'll go look at them all and see kind of what's out there, and I'll kind of almost keep a tally of, what I'm seeing. Like maybe from store to store, you'll see something repeating. So let's say you go in a store and you go in every store in the mall, and every store you're seeing, say, the same animal. Like let's say you're seeing a dolphin in every store, that's a trend. Or I'm looking at the layout, like the way they put the letters on the shirt, or, the fonts they're using, or just the style, colors, just how or the themes, how they're putting things together. But I'll always be checking that, especially like, kind of more youthful, trendy stores. Like I don't want to go in Sears or JCPenney, because I feel like they're not setting the trends, they're following. So, I'd rather go somewhere a little more teen market, a little more trendy, or even like Beverly Hills, where that's really top of the line. Like there's some stores that there's one called Opening Ceremony, and that's like a really cool store. Like, that would be like my number one pick in LA for, coolness. Like that's where it's at. It used to be in LA, it used to be Fred Siegel was like the top, but now Opening Ceremony has like taken that spot. That's the one.
So Anna giving up her secrets. If you're in LA,
so everyone who lives here, they're all gonna run over there and check it out. But
so your focus right now, do you see yourself moving away from the normal merch model where you're just uploading shirts and working more on licensing? Is that where you're going to concentrate going forward?
What I feel like I need to do, because what I'm seeing is, obviously, I think everyone that I've spoken to is on the same page. That last year we were all kind of on this up and coming, trajectory of increasing sales, and every month growing. And then starting January through now, just it's like a choke, you're throttling kind of. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not going to get controversial and argue whether or not we're being thrilled. That's not the point. But the point is, it's got a lot more saturated, so it's a lot harder. So in the past, you could kind of throw up a holiday shirt and there's less competition. It's easy to make money. Things have changed. So what we need to do is, find a different route if we want to be successful and grow, have, that month-to-month growth. So I think, just partnering with other people, through, business to business or licensing, I feel like that's the way to go. So I have to kind of continue uploading. I can't just stop cold because, of course, it takes time to build clients. But that is my goal, is to build as much as I can. And I'm talking quality ones, not just anybody.
Right. Now, I think one of the things that stood out to me because we actually talked a little bit before about how this all went down. And one of the things that stands out is artists aren't great at business. Like that's not what that's not their thing, right? Like they want to create art. So that's one of the things I think that's really exciting is you definitely solved a problem for her. And that's where, it opens up doors for you to find other artists, because if you solve this problem for her, it works the exact same way for other people.
Yeah, because a lot of these people, they're really kind of working their butt off. Like I mentioned, this one person, I found someone else overseas, and it's like they're sick and they're still working and trying to complete all these projects. Because basically, like this person, another person I'm trying to work with, she's worked for major fashion companies. She's worked for TV, like the billboards and things that you see in downtown LA. Like they'll put an ad and her artwork is in the background of the ad, and, big jobs. And it's like when you have all these deadlines, you're just busting your butt constantly trying to do all these commissions. And so I have a feeling that she's probably being paid by the job, that they're like, okay, this piece of artwork, you're going to get X money, and there's probably no royalty. I mean, I haven't talked to her about it, but I have a feeling that it's not a royalty situation. Just because of my experience in the fashion industry, normally what we'd do is, if we want to buy art, usually we'd always buy art for swimwear, and we'd pay about $500 and sometimes a little more than that per artwork. And that was it. Then once that went into production, that artist never saw any more money. That was it. And plus they had to split that money with the sales rep and then the studio. So it'd be like, they're not seeing the full 500 unless they're their own sales rep.
Gotcha. Now, if somebody wanted to go out and start finding artists, like where would you recommend them starting?
Yeah, so what I would do is, like, let's say you have this is more for established people who are more established in merch. If you have a niche that's really working for you and it lends itself well to art, just start searching, in Pinterest or Instagram or online for art in that category. Like just pick a category, like let's say your theme is baseball. So then you just, look for baseball art and see what comes up. I like Instagram and Pinterest the best, but
right.
And kind of see who's at the top of their game in your niche. Because there's some of the niches I'm in that there is not that much art in existence. And some of the stuff that's out there is just not even good. It's just like people kind of cutting and pasting stuff together. It's really amateur. So it's like if you find this good artist, then they stand alone in their niche,
All right, yeah, you got some good knowledge for sure.
Thanks.
So yeah, so I think it'd be good. This would be a good Q&A for the audience to actually ask you questions. Everybody's gonna start going crazy right now. I already know it.
Yeah, I mean, Anna's got. So here's the thing: like Anna not only has like a deep knowledge about design and fashion and everything else, right? But she has knowledge about screen printing. Like that was one of the things that stood out with me too, is like when you were talking to the artist, because she did some shirts, I guess, that had been partially screen printed and then she was doing stuff on it. So like, the difference between screen printing and direct to garment is like the amount of colors that we can have in the direct to garment stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
pay per color and it will get really expensive for a large amount of colors.
Right, exactly. Because like you can get a $6 shirt with one color, but then when you add in 4 more, the price goes up quite a bit.
Yeah. Or there's ways to kind of fake it, but they don't ever look good. It's this kind of pixelated looking thing, and it's just not attractive.
Right. And then, for people that are, because there's always the people that want to just immediately come up with an objection before they actually try anything. You've actually shown her one of the shirts, right?
Yeah. And I got it printed. So first of all, I mocked it up, but then I said, look, I'll just get this done for you and I'll send it to you. then you tell me what you think, and if you like it, then why don't we test this out? And so, and she was really, I mean, I didn't offer the shirt until I knew she was really on board.
Right.
So
what did she think of the shirt?
She is supposed to receive it yesterday. I haven't got an email from her, so I don't know if she received it yet. But when she saw the photos, just the photos of it, she is highly impressed. Like, she's super excited by how nice it was, and that was just the photos. So when she sees it in person, that will just confirm, okay, yeah, this looks great.
Right. And so here's one other thing I thought that Anna did that was really smart. You had the shirt sent to yourself first, right?
Yeah, in case they messed up, right?
Exactly.
Or just so I could see the quality, so I know, so I can have a legit conversation, not just some BS. Oh yeah, look how nice it is. That I actually checked it out with my.
Right, absolutely. Because the worst thing that can happen, because it does happen, we actually ordered one of our own shirts last week and we got a misprint. They do happen. So like that's the last thing you want to do is start a conversation with, hey, how awesome is the printing quality? Yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah. So that's important. Yeah.
Dabbing unicorn. It's a different niche. Yeah. Okay. All right. That was pretty smart. Yeah. Let's. You want to go ahead and get into the Q&A?
Sure.
All right, guys. If you guys have any questions for Anna or us, let's go ahead and let's rep out these questions. And also, too, please give the video a thumbs up and share it.
Eric Rosner wants to know: are you going to list them with keywords, or just rely on her fan base to sell the shirts?
Both. So, I mean, I'll put probably her brand name will be the most important thing to lead that customer in, because she already has an established artist. But then, like, some of the other ones, I mean, this one, the niche is not what's going to sell it. What's going to sell it is the artist herself. But there's a couple other artists that I'm targeting, and for those artists, it's the niche that will sell it. So the keywords that are appropriate to that niche, that's what's going to drive the traffic. Well, it will also be the artists too, because these two artists that I'm also targeting, they do have a good either social media following or reputation, fashion industry, or just in the industry.
Right. So I mean, you're almost double dipping, right? Like, not only are you having their own social proof, but it's also the fact that like these are really good artists anyways.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, kind of depends on the case, of what what you're aiming after.
Is your son providing the sunshade?
Yeah, he's standing back there trying to wave at me. I'm like, oh yeah, you can see the shadow. You want to come around and say hello?
Yeah, tell him come around, say hi.
Hello. Say hello. There you go.
What's up, buddy?
All right.
Okay. So are you gonna put it live on Amazon too as well? So you're gonna put it live. You're not gonna put like a private link at all.
So in this particular case, I'll go live because I wanted to, hopefully get some organic sales. I don't want it to just be hidden. It's different than like, ordering for like a pizza shop like Mike Wallace talked about. This is totally different. So in this case, yeah, I do want people to be able to see it. So for all the artist collaborations, I do want to just put it live. I don't really have a reason to hide it because I'm trying to help them build too, so they can get organic sales as well as, followers in the niche.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's another thing too. I didn't get why people were putting it to a private link, but I'm not sure exactly why.
That would more be for like the reason for the private link is like, let's say you're a pizza shop and you need uniforms for your employees. So like your average person isn't even gonna want them. And then the other reason for the private link was just so they could track sales from like a advertising mailer, so they could kind of see exactly how many were coming in. Like they could separate it by different links for each mailer. But yes, a different ball game kind of.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
One second. Okay. I like your image community, digital, claims tax stuff. I love it. How do you, well, I don't think anybody has got that far yet.
With tax?
Yeah. How do you claim local? Well, we haven't got that far yet.
It's just a 1099. You're going to 1099 them at the end of the year.
To do. Yeah, just for their earnings. That way, it's for your own tax as a business owner, and then for them to declare their earnings on their taxes.
How do you prove to someone that? How many shirts per month?
Yeah. So I think I was just taking the page from Mike Wall. He is saying what he'll do is he'll just download the CSV file and send them a copy so they can see. I mean, and hopefully they just trust you that you're not altering that document.
Well, the beauty of it is, right, like they're not putting out money, right? So like it's free money for them, literally. Like they're just getting paid out. So it's not like they're going to be putting out product and then having you reconcile versus the product and making sure that you actually sold the number of shirts that they gave you, everything else. It's a totally different ballgame. I think people are way too worried about the trust angle here. And at the end of the day, like artists and business owners, if they don't have to worry about it and it's just steady money, it's money coming in that they weren't expecting otherwise, they're just going to fist pump. They're not going to sit here and try and, double check all your work and make sure that like you weren't trying to,
Yeah, but I think the CSV file, I think that's sufficient, and they can see exactly what they sold month to month.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, how are you splitting the percentage? I think you said 50-50.
Yeah, I was 50-50.
Okay.
Because it just seems like a reasonable offer for artists, because basically, they're not doing any work, but I'm not creating the artwork. So it seems like a fair deal in my opinion. That I'm managing all the uploads and, just doing basically all the online sales for them, so they don't have to.
Right. I will say that I know for some people that are doing licensing, and it depends on obviously what the product that you're licensing is. But there are some people that will actually go for a lower percentage, but they want a guarantee. They want you to guarantee certain X amount per month that you have to pay regardless of whether you hit that number or not.
Yeah, so that's like a little more complicated deal. And for myself, I don't feel comfortable doing that because I don't have any track record to see how their sales are. I mean, if I had a track record, okay, that would be different. But even so, this makes me more comfortable to do it.
Right. And I think just getting one on the board, right? Like having one customer that's doing this, that it's working for them, and it opens up doors for you. You can actually open up, they're going to know other people that they can present this business to, and it's just an easy transition to walk in there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I'm working on a second one that's actually overseas. So, and this one, this one's pretty big time in my opinion. That they're well known as an artist and well known in fashion. Have been working for some fashion brands. So, it's going.
Gotcha.
I'm kind of curious with the agreement. You got the agreement from I forgot his name. You got the whole agreement and everything all put up, all set?
Not yet. So I need to working on a contract. So that's my next step is to try to work out a contract. And I know like a friend of mine said, she made one and she had let me look it over, but I'm thinking of maybe taking what she had and then maybe going to a lawyer and having them tweak it, just for my purposes. Just make sure it looks legit in terms of because I know you need to specify things like time, like how long is this contract good for, or what happens if one of the parties ends it, or what happens if I lose my Amazon account, things like that. So just to kind of work out details. So that's my next step, to be getting that contract organized, figure it out.
Is there like a minimum number of followers on social media for you to go out and reach out to an artist? Do you have like a set number in your head? Like, I don't want to approach anybody that has a following less than 10,000 people.
Yeah, no, for me, it's not so much about numbers. It's more like of a feeling of what I think I can do with them. For example, someone might have a lot of, I guess this isn't, I'm not speaking correctly. Let me start again. It's more of, that I know they'll work based on the niche. I'll have a niche and I know I'm selling really well in that niche. So if that person is in the niche and their art is good, I know it'll work. So it's just more of like a combination of things, like not just looking at numbers on followers, but kind of looking at digging a little deeper into their business to see, maybe solving a problem, like seeing, okay, this person is doing pretty well. Like, for example, there's another person I found and they actually had done some art for Disney. So, just to have that honor of doing art that Disney says, yes, work with us and we'll work with you. But on the same, at the same time, this person has a Patreon, is that how you pronounce it, account?
Yeah.
So it's like they're kind of a starving artist if they need a Patreon account, because if they were doing really well, they wouldn't need that. So I'm looking for kind of opportunities in a way, looking for artists that they've got that cachet of something special, like maybe working with a designer brand or somebody big like Disney, but they're still struggling financially. So the financial struggle means, hey, I can come in and help them and build their business So then it's like a good opportunity for both of us. If the person's not really struggling financially, then they don't need me. You know, if that person is like, you know, a superstar, you know, Lady Gaga, they don't need me, you know, but someone who's struggling a little bit, yeah, they need me.
Right. You hear what she said there, RJ? Patreon, not Patron.
No, I was gonna say it's Patron.
No, not tequila. Tequila, but yeah. So anyway, but yeah, that's, you know, because this person I noticed actually, so I'll dig, like I'll kind of, you know, do a little research on these people. For example, like she did actually some art. This is a different artist that I'm interested in pursuing. That I haven't reached out to her yet, but I'm preparing. So before I reach out, I'm researching. So I noticed, you know, she actually did some art with Disney. She was approved to do some art for Mattel, you know, the toy company. And but then she was trying to sell some of the art she did for Mattel, and she put some of it up for like $1,000 or $2,000, and that's for a painting. And in my opinion, it's like, okay, let's say you sell those 2 paintings. Well, then what? You know, then you got to go and make more paintings. So it's like financially, I feel like, you know, she could use some financial, you know, some extra cash flow in her business. You know, she has the talent and she has the connections, but cash flow is still an issue.
So how are you approaching her? Are you
so this will be a new one that I'm planning to approach. So in this case, email was not even working because the email was like a overflow or whatever. It said something like not accepting. Is like one of those things where you fill out a form and submit something, like that's not gonna go. So I think this time I'll either approach through Facebook or Instagram. So I think maybe I'll make a comment on Instagram and try get in that way and get a conversation going. I don't even have a phone number. A lot of these people, they don't even, you know, put a phone number, so it's a little tricky, but either Instagram or Facebook is how I'll try to approach this next one.
I got you. Do you have an Instagram account, Anna?
I do. So I have a personal one. So I actually just kind of went and cleaned up my personal account. So it's a little, you know, minimized and cleaned up some old junk. And then, but I do have Instagram that I have per niches. So the per niche, I might use those to communicate if I was reaching out to someone in that particular niche. In this case, I'll just use my personal because this last person that I want to look at or reach out to, she's not really falling into a niche, so I'll just approach her with my personal.
So she's just like a kick-ass artist. She just does really cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, her biggest claim to fame would be working in tandem with Disney and Mattel. So
gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
You know, cool artist.
So the niche Instagram accounts, are you using those as research, or are you using those to help promote your shirts?
Yeah, so those are for promos for my own. So for example, like what I did was just whatever my best selling shirts are, categories, niches, I decided to create some Instagram. So like there's one that I know is really strong. The other one is not as strong. And then there's one more that I have a really strong Facebook group for, or not group, Facebook page. So I'm planning to make an Instagram for that because I have basically, you know, 2 niches that are super strong. And like my Facebook group, it just keeps on getting followers, even though I'm not really putting effort into it right now. So I'm trying to just pick the best ones because I don't have time to make a million Instagrams. That's a waste of my time. And I don't like the idea of making these Instagrams that are like generic, meaning like I don't want just to be like, you know, Anna's novelty shirt shop because nobody cares about that. They're not passionate about that, but they are passionate about whatever their hobby is, like, you know, knitting or whatever that niche is, you know.
Right. Now, do you plan on going after more conventional businesses, more the local merch model, or are you focused more on just the artistic side and licensing?
Yeah, no, I do want to do some local stuff as well. But for me, it's kind of like I prioritize the art first because I feel like this flows better into my personality. Like, you know, for myself, I don't have to get in the car and get dressed up and drive and meet somebody and, you know, do this really formal presentation. Because, you know, to do that, you have to jump through a lot of hoops. You've got to spend your time to meet with these people. You got to get dressed up. You got to, you know, have a presentation ready, have some shirts ready. You know, it's really kind of time and labor intensive. Whereas for me to just reach out to artists, like, you know, maybe do, you know, 1 to 3 artists per day, that's much more doable. Because right now, I mean, my kids, they're only in school for maybe 6 hours. So I kind of have limited time to work. Once they're home, I'm not getting much done. So, you know, I have to prioritize my time. And it just fits my personality to go this way. But I do plan to hit a few local businesses, because there's one that I know, there's like a restaurant, and the guy owns like I think 3 of them in town. It's kind of like a chain restaurant. So, you know, I figure, hey, that's worth a shot, because he does sponsor things for my kids' school. Like if they get an award at school, then he'll give a gift certificate. Like, hey, you know, here's a gift certificate, come in for a free meal. So obviously he will work with the community. He's not totally closed off, you know, so people like that I plan to target.
You just need your kid to get that gift certificate, and then you have an easy open. You just walk in and go, hey, I just want to thank the owner for this. And then, hey, by the way, can Amazon help you build your business?
That's true. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay, they're asking, okay, how'd you start the conversation with the artist that you got right now, or that you're talking with right now?
So yes, so the one is initially an email, but the real key was going into Facebook and commenting on one of her posts. But it had to be an appropriate post. Like, you don't want to be that inappropriate poster where you're just coming in with a random comment that looks spammy. You know what I mean? It has to tie into the post. So I was lucky that she was already talking about a POD in her Facebook, which was a POD for fabrics. So it gave me that little opening, because you don't want to be that person who's like, you know, they say slide into the DMs or whatever, but just the inappropriate person that jumps in like randomly and just looking spammy. You don't want that. It has to flow. So you have to just kind of wait for the right opportunity, I think. Maybe, and start like a little more casual conversation. Because there's another guy I approached, like a artist, and I actually had seen his work in like 98 in New York, and I had this little flyer idea. I saved it all these years, and then so I went back to him. I, you know, emailed and started a conversation with him, just talking about, you know, old school New York and punk things, and, you know, stuff we had in common, just to get that conversation going. So it's almost like if you can take it to a more personal level, it'll be a lot better, because they don't want to just hear the sales pitch. They want to be like, oh yeah, like we have some friends in common, or like, oh, you know, I remember your band from back in the day, or whatever, you know. So it's not so salesy, because people don't like this, you know, sales, you know, hard sell, or like, you know, the telemarketing kind of thing where they're just in your face.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people also get confused by sales, right? Like they think that like sales is about trying to force people to buy something that they don't want. And that's not like sales, right? Like actual sales, like when you're actually doing a good job as a salesperson, you're providing a service, you're answering a need, you're offering a benefit to somebody to solve a problem that they have. And that's what that entire business model is about. It's like finding a different way for them to be able to acquire customers, advertise, all of that stuff. Or in your case with, you know, an artist, finding a different channel for them to monetize their work.
Yeah, because one of the complaints I was getting from these people is, I mean, I see what their problem is. That's why I do research, is to see where the problem is and how I can solve it. That this one guy was saying, well, you know, I hardly even do my own silkscreen anymore. I hardly even print my own stuff, because I just spend all my time screening other people's stuff as a full-time living, and then I want to spend time with my son, and there's no time left. So I'm like, well, this way you have more time, because you have more money coming in, so you won't have to work as many hours, and you can spend more time with your kid, and then you can have more time to focus on your art, because he is saying I hardly have time to focus on my own art, because, you know, I'm so busy working. So see what their weakness is, and then how you can kind of resolve that for them.
Yeah, basically. Also too, you got to like follow them to kind of like ease your way into it. See what they're posting every day, see what they're commenting, see what they're replying to, like what type of comments they're replying to, see what they like. And it's kind of just, and then once you see your opportunity, just come in, throw a roadblock at them, and boom.
Yeah, so you want to do it with finesse, because you have to wait for the right opportunity. Like, don't rush these things, you know, take your time. Like some of them, it's like I've been taking my time. I mean, there's one person that I contacted overseas and just, you know, through email. So that one, it worked out, but you know, I kind of got lucky there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot like the Gary Vee saying, right? Like jab, 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 right hook, right? Like don't walk in right off the bat and go, hey, I'm going to sell shirts for you. Like you have to actually, you know, start a conversation. It's like you're at the bar and you want to talk to somebody at the bar. You don't just walk in and say, let's go home.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. It's like dating. That if someone were to approach you like that in a dating situation, it'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, go away. You know, get out of here. Go home. You're drunk, right? Go home, weirdo.
RJ?
No, that was going. I was going to say Matt dating in high school.
Please.
Oh, so mean.
Okay. Yeah. No. That's like actually very important. That's like very crucial right there. Just also too with Instagram shout outs for your shirt. Like if you have like if you're already an artist already and you have good designs, you know what I mean? Go to the influencers and message them. If they have 10,000 followers, go and message them and talk to them and stuff like that, and just kind of get to know them. And then all of a sudden, like, hey, here's a shirt. Do you mind doing a shout out for me? And then see what happens. So,
or yeah, even better, I had ideas to try to create a specific line for an influencer, because if you're an artist and design person, then you have that talent to do that. Like I found someone with 3 million followers on Instagram. She really has no merch in terms of shirts or anything like that. So I could come in and just design it for her, a whole line, and present that. You know, I want to do like 20 shirts off the bat, but I do like a small line and present it to her, because it's like pretty simple for me to do it. You know, your average person, that might be a struggle, but for someone who's creative, you know, they could just come in and create something custom for an influencer.
And then also too, what she's talking about, I think that's pretty much what Gary Vee talks about in his whole book, is about like Instagram influencers and how to like leverage that market and stuff like that. He said that like he's going over a lot of stuff like on his Daily V, how he talks about like how to use Instagram, social media, but he preferably says Instagram because he's killing it on Instagram right now. And he's just leveraging it right now. So it's something to think about.
It's the same thing with YouTube too. Like YouTube, these guys, they don't know how to monetize, right? Like they've got a following, they've got a bunch of people that pay attention or whatever, but they don't know how to actually make money off that. It's basically just AdSense. So like if you can come in there and prevent them something that like their fans are going to like to begin with, right? Like it gives them an opportunity to support the channel, support the person that they're into, that they're watching already. Like it's a win-win.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, some of them, like this one person that I want to target, this is like an older woman, so she's not real savvy on how to monetize. I mean, she is making a little money just doing, you know, appearances, or people send her free clothes, or she'll show up at like MTV on the red carpet. But it's like she could really be monetizing, and they don't. Yeah, you're right, they're not getting it. Some of them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you answered some really good. You actually have some really good knowledge on how to do all this stuff, so that's pretty good. I'm glad to have you on the show. That's really good.
I'm just glad to have a woman on the show for the first time in forever. Like
last one was Amanda, right?
I think the last one was Amanda or Kristen. I think it was Amanda.
It was Amanda, then Kristen.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was Christina. It was Christina. But either way, like there's all these awesome women in merch, and I feel like we haven't had very many of them on at all. So
Aaron, thank you.
Yeah, I was going to throw out like another kind of random comment, just something I was thinking about, I want to share with you guys. A lot of artists, like they, you know, your ego as an artist kind of takes over, and you want to be like the Picasso of the t-shirt world. But I would advise people let go of that if you're an artist, and just focus on being a commercial graphic artist, because there's a difference between a fine artist and commercial artist. So what that means is, like, normally I'd do some kind of elaborate watercolor thing. Customers on merch, usually, you know, on Amazon, they're not looking for that. They're looking for like really simplified stuff. So for example, like, you know, I did like a mermaid as all watercolor. No one hardly bought that. But then I made like a cartoon mermaid, very simple, very clean, and that's sold. So everything I do, I try to strip it down to like bare bones elements, meaning just like colors. I make my designs, you know, in Photoshop, or, you know, people do it in Illustrator, not even doing outlines usually on them. It's like, you know, just simplify and think, you know, graphically, as opposed to, you know, and it's not all about you. Like sometimes you think, okay, you're too cool for something, or you're too sophisticated, but it's better to think, you know, what does the customer want? And lots of times what they want is pretty lowbrow, meaning, you know, it's like a stupid little cartoon, or like, you know, dabbing animal. I mean, I'm not that, but you know what I mean? Like it's I call it almost like frat boy stuff or little kid stuff. I mean, it's not sophisticated. So, you know, as an artist, just let go of your ego and focus on doing stuff that you can make money with, because the money is not in fine art. It's in like kind of what I call cheesy stuff, you know, just cute and funny and stupid. So, you know, be aware of that.
Yeah, that's some good information right there too as well. So that's real good.
Yeah, or to give to your artist. If you're not an artist, just tell your artist, don't make it too fancy. Keep it simple, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. You guys have any more questions for Anna?
You guys should have some questions. Like,
no,
she knows a lot of stuff.
Let's see. Having here, don't care. Why is our day so sweaty? Oh, stop asking weird questions.
Yeah,
Who is that?
I can't see the comments on my end, so I'm just
Okay.
guys to tell me.
Have you tried working with any bands?
I mean, kind of in a roundabout way. That I approached this punk rock artist, and he was in a band, and then he did some shirts. He actually did a shirt for Soundgarden, if you can believe that. So that's pretty good. So, like, you know, I was hoping to connect with him, and then through him, you know, promote some of the bands that he was doing, or maybe try to get permission to use that thing that he did for Soundgarden, because it was like a poster. So,
Okay.
but right now he's kind of like dragging his feet. He's like, I don't know. Part of the problem was just communication gap, that he was saying, oh, well, I don't want to just be lumped in with a bunch of different artists that aren't even like me. I said, well, you know, I think there's a miscommunication here, because you would have, I told him, you would have your very own brand on Amazon, so you're not going to be lumped in with anybody who's not like you. Because he thought I was going to lump him in with this other artist who's like a hippie chick. I'm like, no, it's not gonna work like that. He thought it would be my own website and just these random artists, but I said, no, you'll stand alone. So sometimes it's like just try and get your message across. And he's kind of dragging his feet because he feels like he wants to control the quality, and he wants, you know, he doesn't want to relinquish control. But you know, I'm trying. Maybe he'll come back to me. We'll see. You know, but I'm not gonna chase him. It's like dating once again. Like there's no point to chase anybody. Like if they want you, they'll come to you, but don't waste your time chasing someone who's not interested, you know?
For
Yeah,
sure.
Matt.
Bro, I'm married. What are you doing? You're sitting in a garage in Banning, bro.
It's an analogy.
There's a reason RJ is so hot and sweaty, guys. It's because he's in a goddamn garage in Banning burning up.
I'm not that sweaty.
Yeah.
I've been working out too, but for information.
All right, good.
This is RJ being cheap and trying to create his own sauna.
Okay, so what do you think about fashion art on T-shirts?
So I think that's great. I mean, it's like you have to kind of, you know, be savvy. Like for me, you know, I understand the fashion world. So like I was really excited to find this one artist that she worked for a major fashion brand, you know, that they liked her art. And so they put it on bathing suits. They did, you know, shirts, they did shorts, they did underwear, they did, you know, this whole line with her art. So I think it's great, but it has to work. You know, for example, like it has to translate to a T-shirt. For example, like I found an artist who does this kind of cartoon style, like a comic book almost. So that translates well because it was basically just black and white with a hit of color. Like I think it was basically like black line work with a little red. So I mean, like that, you know, works so well for silkscreen. So it has to translate, you know. And I mean, I guess later on you could get into more fashiony stuff. Like I know there's other PODs that they'll print swimwear or leggings or dresses, or you know, you could go there if you wanted to. Right now I'm more focused just on merch.
Right. Debbie wants to know, do you find artists to be resistant to Amazon because it's more mainstream? They have kind of a negative association with it?
Right now, not really, because what I do is I kind of explain to them that, you know, this is the wave of the future. For example, like, you know, I started out on eBay, and it's like eBay pretty much got, you know, eaten up by Amazon. And so it's like, if you can't beat them, join them. And it's like, I told them, you know, this is the best way to get organic traffic, that you're pretty much your top spot online for organic traffic. So as an artist, you know, why not go there, be there, join them.
Right.
Okay, now with the licensing thing, with the licensing part, the contract part, she still hasn't done that yet, or I think none of us haven't done that yet. Well, some people have, but they're not going to share it. Not going to share it.
So a friend of mine offered to send one, so I'm going to look at hers and then see if I can, you know, personalize it, try to get a lawyer, try to get my accountant involved as well. She's a CEO, help me out as well. Tax stuff, you know, but yeah, still need to work on.
Kyle, how do you handle clients that are local diehard local business supporters?
Okay, so you mean like that they, like I'm kind of confused by the question, like that they don't want to go.
Yeah,
like a screen printer.
Or
yeah.
You mean for example, like let's say you went to a school or something and they say, oh well, we just want to work with our local screen printer. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, myself, actually, I did approach my sister-in-law because she's a teacher, And I said, hey, are you guys doing any shirts right now for school? And she said, yeah, we are doing a end of year thing. But then she told me, oh, it's printed front and back and they need a pretty low price. And I said, I had a feeling I couldn't match her price because my kid had a similar shirt and it was $15 printed front and back. And that didn't, include shipping. So I had a feeling I couldn't even match the price. But I said, look, just give me the price and then I'll see if I can match it. So sometimes, it's just about the price, really, that if you can't match it, just forget it and move on. Just really depends on, the situation. I'm not going to, once again, I'm not going to chase. Like, if it's not going to work out, just move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't sell the unsellable, guys. Like, if they're not going to buy, don't waste your time. You don't have to convince them. There is a huge market of people out there that are going to be interested in this for other problems that you can solve for them.
Yeah, it's like being the creepy dude, that keeps on chasing the girl, and the girl's like, I'm not interested in you. I told you, like, go away. I can't stand you. Like, I get all these horrible, what do you call it, catfishers. And, like, I'll tell them, like, F off, and they keep on, like, trying to talk to me. I'm like, didn't I tell you? Go away, So, yeah.
That's Pinterest.
Don't chase.
Okay. Yeah. Also, too, it's just like another thing too. Like, they don't have to speak to anybody. Like, it's like very convenient for them just to order it online. So you can kind of throw that at them too as well. Like, you don't have to talk to me. You can just order it online at your convenience. So
yeah.
Right. Did you think about setting up like a website or anything before you started contacting people?
I mean, myself, like, I feel like that's just an extra hurdle. Like, I want to make my path really fast and easy. And my problem is if I set up too many hurdles for myself, then it will never happen. I feel like it's extraneous. It's not necessary. I mean, I know some people, they want to do that to seem more professional or what have you, but I didn't feel need to.
Okay. That's okay. That seems pretty good.
Okay.
Let me see. I'm trying to see if anybody has any more questions. If anything pops up right here.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is right here. This is gonna be real good. I think
it's great.
Yeah, this is it right here. So we're gonna call it right here, everyone. Thank you, Anna, for coming on the show.
Yeah, real quick. If anybody wants to follow you or find you, where's the best place for them to reach you?
Oh, me?
Yes.
Probably just send a message on Facebook is the best because if I don't really check my email. So yeah, Instagram, I don't check it often enough. So if you're in a hurry to talk to me, I might not even see that. So.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Again, we have the best fans of pretty much any show out there. I think our fans are awesome. So we always appreciate you guys. This is always a good time. If you haven't already, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up on the button down below. And if this is the first time you guys are watching this channel and watching our show, hit the subscribe button and you can see RJ dance like this.
No, yeah, it's pretty good. Everything's good. Honestly, we do have the best audience with the show because we've been putting out so much content, getting new people on here every single week, and we're just going to keep this going. And the only reason we do this is because we want you to be successful in the merch business or print on demand now because everything else is scaling up and everything else is looking good. So let's kick ass together and scale our business up together and rock on, baby. Let's go.
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, Anna.
All right.
Thank you, Anna.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.